count 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get going. All right, we're all live. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock. Let's get our meeting started. Everyone, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Need someone to make a motion to accept the agenda, but before we do, I have 2 changes to add to that, please. I see some guests out in the audience are going to probably speak, at least 1, maybe 2 or 3. So after public comment, let's add 6A. I'd like to have a discussion of use of town land by town residents. The last meeting we did much more interactive during the public meeting. Robert's rules demand that we allow them to speak, and then we can have a discussion afterwards. So
I have one question. If instead of amending that, we have it during the general discussion at the end, and then we can always have a formal discussion at our next meeting to give people notice of what we're talking about.
right.
So if they want to be here or listen to the meeting, they'll know
Right.
more in advance instead of
Um,
putting it on tonight.
what I was planning on doing is kind of giving a general outline about that,
Mhm.
about the situation kind of leading us here, and then just see if there's any other comments, and then I think we could add it to the next one.
Yeah.
Whatever, but
I
if we can, let's-
agree with you, Bob. I think there are people that want to
Right.
be part of that and see what's
Absolutely.
going on. So an initial discussion maybe tonight, but
That's
I say
exactly right.
continue it to the next agenda for a more thorough
right,
discussion.
because there may be others that have other opinions,
Yeah,
other
definitely.
piece of land. Gives us also
Absolutely.
time, some homework, so.
Right, yeah, I concur on that.
All right, so let's leave it at 6A, but we'll keep it brief and the intention. is
All right,
to get
then
it
I will
done.
make a motion to accept the agenda as amended with an addition of 6A under public comment.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. Thank you. Also, I'd like to add to new business, C. It's going to be contract agreement with Martin Lavero Contractors. They're doing our sidewalks. That was not added in. So 8C, add contract agreement with Martin Lavero Contractors.
And I'll make a motion that we add 8C to, as amended.
I'll second.
Okay, very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, has everyone reviewed the minutes of the August 26th special meeting as well as the regular meeting of September 3rd?
Yes,
Okay, I've reviewed as well. I saw no errors.
Yeah, I move we approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion. We second them.
Okay, are we approving both of them at the same time?
That would be my motion.
Okay,
Yep,
so
I'll agree.
That's what I thought. All right, so you make a motion to approve the August 26th and the September 3rd meetings. John, you're seconding it?
Yep.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. I'll go a little slower, Jim, so you can get your votes in.
There's gonna be a delay there.
Absolutely. All right, very good. Communication and correspondence. I have some, but I'm going to save that toward the end of the meeting during informal discussion. Let's get right to public comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to have their comments heard by the board? Come on up. So you're going to come up there, state your name clearly, good posture, and give your address as well.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Coleman Mullen, and I live at 54 Strongs Avenue in Portland, Connecticut. And I would like for our emails that we've been corresponding back and forth about the town parcel on the bottom of Middlesex Ave Extension, Brazos Drive, and the farmland now known as Blake Farm LLC, to bring that up to discussion about my husband's family, Joe Mullen, Dan Anderson, and Nancy Anderson, who have created this Blake Farm, but it goes back way since his great-great-grandparents were there decades and decades ago farming this property. And we were unknown that there was a lease potentially up for that property. So we would like to put our proposal forward, which has been emailed, that we could add to the minutes. And then my husband, Joe, had written an email just more about the history of the property and the easements that the town benefits from the property that has been on the property for as long as his grandparents have been around, with a mutual agreement that we have had for multiple years. And, you know, we want that to be known to everyone, that if there is a lease for that land, that we would like to be considered for it, since we have been maintaining it for so long. Joe did extensive tree work. We use the land for hay for our grass-fed cattle business, which we sell directly to the consumer. And even though the farm itself looks like a big chunk of land in Portland, it looks great after being mowed, 33 acres. A lot of that is just pasture land. So, you know, this land at the bottom that really the only direct access to through the locked town gate is from our farm directly. So we would like to be able to continue to utilize that to feed our cattle. And I believe that is it. So I would like that to be discussed sooner than later. We already missed out on a third mowing just from some stuff that was happening down there. And we respectively did not mow the field until we got this figured out to what was going to happen down there. So we would like to get this figured out sooner than later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as you've heard, we're going to discuss this more in length at our next meeting on October 8th, and that'll be in our new location. But I would encourage if anyone else has anything that they want to add in terms of suggestions or ideas for us to consider. It'll give us 2 weeks right now to review, discuss, get more details. I did also speak to Susan and got a little background there, but there's a lot more work I think all of us need to do up here because it is an interesting topic in terms of use of town land. I don't know if there's anyone else out there that wants to say anything else or suggest anything else to us in terms of. You come on up. Yeah, you gotta make the walk.
Probably should have done a little more research. My name's Danny Anderson.
Hold on one second.
I'm Danny Anderson, live at 18 Joel Drive with my wife Deborah. I guess 18 Joel Drive. So once again, obviously, there's a lot of sentimentality and emotion that goes into this farmland, both existing as well as that piece that the town has. I know my father purchased that from the Edwards back in the 60s and extended the farm to that acreage, and there was some tobacco and hay raised there. To my nephew's credit, he has cleared all the trees there and made that a contiguous to the farm without selfishness, other than that's the way my nephew manages the farm. So I guess we were unaware that it was available for lease. Otherwise, obviously, as Kelly said, we would have been we would have been parties that wanted to enter into some sort of a lease. So I guess my question is to the town is, what was the previous designation of the property and when was it up for lease, if that's the right terminology?
So we can't answer directly during this thing. What we'll do is in our discussion in a couple of minutes, I'll be able to. So that's one of your questions.
Yes.
Okay.
But other than that, you can't beat the stewardship that comes into maintaining it, both currently and going forward. So as Kelly said, the Anderson family would be interested, as well as Joe as our spokesman and manager, and entering into a lease for the property.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Is there anybody else? Just name and address. Okay.
My name's Joe Engel. This is my wife, Michelle Engel,
Hello.
2 Highland Avenue in Portland. So good evening, everybody. We are Highland Soul Farm. We operate our farm currently. It's out of 2 Highland Farm. I'm sure many of you know it, across from the town hall. It's the yard with all the flowers in it. Both of us were both born and raised in the town of Portland, and we want to grow our business in the town of Portland. And we saw this piece of land, not knowing that it was under anybody else's stewardship or any other thing. We looked it up on GIS that it was owned by the town of Portland. We approached First Selectman Pelton with an idea of bringing a flower farm with a U-pick onto that property. And basically, we want to be able to share that property with not only expanding our business that is flourishing this year, but incorporate community projects and events that we'd like to have there. We spoke with Fire Ring Farm, who does some wonderful educational programs currently in the town of Portland. They would love to collaborate with us and have us be hosts of some of their projects they do. Basically, you know, our vision that we see here is something that could bring a lot of business to the center of town, especially with the spa coming in and a lot of the new restaurants opening up in the town of Portland.
And to just expand on the Riverfront Trail in general, just add a little extra something for the community to, you know, actually, you know, take part in and enjoy. You know, again, this is not just for growing, this is for the community to share in and be a part of. I think that there's a little disconnect in our community because the community is not privy to land, you know, where we have our yards and that's about it. And the disconnect is, you know, the farm to table portion. And granted, it's just flowers, but it is still a crop and helps people have respect for, you know, the way things are grown and how things are, you know, harvested and things like that. But
And we want to
again,
work with other farms in the area to bring that awareness to the community. So we're very passionate about this. We work very hard at it. And we feel that as stewards of that land, we would be very responsible for bringing something that the community doesn't have currently. So that's where we're at.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And let's see, one more chance. Oh, I see another hand go up.
Hi, my name is Joseph Mullen, the 54 Strongs Avenue. I'm also speaking for the Blake Farm LLC, located at 50 Strongs Avenue. I don't want to extend the meeting any longer than it has to be. I send out a few emails. I just want to enter as my wife. I appreciate her going ahead of me. She did a pretty good job summarizing it. And I just want to speak that we had used the land previously. We do use it for ours, so it helps our small business that we have. It kind of lends itself with the farm, our farm itself. The other point that I just want to point out is there are a few other public land, other options, I think, throughout town. And I had mentioned it in a few emails, and I know my aunt, would be Nancy Anderson, had expressed that there's other land options. And I would just say, I know it's public comment, but I would say if I could at all facilitate, you know, in any which way, whether it's, you know, rototilling or any type of land, you know, something I can do with the land, you know, whether it be at these other land options. I know I've spoken with grounds. For the record, I do work for the town of Portland, the highway department. So I wouldn't say I have insider information, but I've talked to other folks and I've just tried to get some information on other public land that's available. And if there's a way that I could facilitate the efforts, like I said, I don't hold any animus. I've never met either from a Highland Soul flower farm. It's not that, it's anything like that. Like I said, if I could facilitate in any which way on another piece of public land, I'd be happy to do so. I've always listed my name, my number, and email, which we can enter into public or as a public comment. So I just want to add that, like I said, if that, I know our interest was continuing to utilize the land there. And if there's some way I could I agree, there's two businesses. I just don't want to hinder, you know, increase ours or hinder someone else's, but if there's any which way I could, you know, facilitate or make it easier on another piece of public land. So I don't want to tie up the meeting anymore, but I just want to enter that. So,
No, I think, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Any more hands going up? Okay, that was great. So if there's no one else that wants to discuss, a couple things I wanted to say before we talk briefly about this and then move on. Part of this issue is, I think, my enthusiasm. I spoke to Joe about 2 weeks ago. And it seems a long time ago. And he approached, and I thought it was a great idea. I didn't know anything about the property at that point. I think the way we left it, it sounds like a really interesting idea. If we can get some use out of town property and can add some value, that sounds great. Let's we'll talk more about it, and then I'll bring it to the board, and we'll kind of go through a discussion. And in that time, I've discovered that there has been a history there. I talked to Susan, a previous select woman, who filled me in on that and some other arrangements. And these are no arrangements written down, but just kind of understandings. That's just how we did it as a town for a number of years. So additional information's come out. I do hope that we can work together like I think I'm seeing and figure out a way to do that. I'd love to have town land be used for things out there that are beneficial to others, as well as town residents. If there's additional property out there that we can do something with, I think that's a great idea. I'm open to any idea that gets people more connected with the earth as farmers, as flower growers and farmers. That's a good thing. We need that. We're disconnected. So anyway, I'm very open to that. I'm glad you guys have expressed your feelings tonight. We'll discuss it more, but I think what we'll do in the next 2 weeks, what I would ask all of us is talk amongst yourselves, come up with some ideas. We'll do the same thing. I'll look at property that's available and we'll discuss that. But I do like the concept of that. There's got to be a way to make something like this work. But we'll discuss that. And again, we need to agree up here with our members, and I'm sure everyone else has other input and insight into what would make the most sense. But I look forward to hearing the suggestions, advice. Maybe you guys come up with something in the meantime. I hope there's other people listening out there too that may have maybe a similar idea. This may prompt people to think about other uses of the property we have. So I hope it ends up in a better place, and we can do something that makes it better for everyone involved. So.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Growing up in this town, I remember when there were farms in every corner. The Andersons was one. There were a number of farms all around. A few years back, with this board recognized Portland as a farm community.
Yeah, right to farm.
And a right to farm. And, at that point in time, you don't even think about farming. That's a thing of the past. And I just think it's refreshing to have. It's an unfortunate issue, but it's amazing to see two families that want to keep farming in town and bring farming back. So it's a hell of a way to get to the discussion, but I think we need to find a resolution, and the more farming in Portland, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
We on 6A now? Is that?
We are on 6A, yes.
Yeah, well, I appreciate John's comments are. Yeah, I do think the right to farm community is, it's an important designation, and we should continue with that.
I agree with everything that everyone said. I just have one question, maybe Joe would be able to answer it the quickest. How big is the parcel you're talking about?
Just under 3 acres.
Yeah, I go back and Mike.
Yes.
Just for clarification, Bobby, the parcel that is in question right here now?
Yeah.
Yes, 3 points.
So I say my name again? No. So the parcel land, I believe, I looked as well on the town GIS, is listed at 2.83 acres.
Okay. And your farm is how many roughly?
The farm roughly, the total acreage for Blake Farm LLC is 33 acres listed. Now of that, like my wife had mentioned, only so much of that acreage is actually, I would say, in hay lot and hay production. A majority of that is seasonal, and what we use it for is actually pasture areas. So what we do is we raise grass. I mean, I don't want to bore it with the meeting, but we raise grass-fed beef. So what we do is we don't feed, we base they're on pasture, and the only time we feed them would be in the dormant season, we feed them hay. So what we do is we try to rotate, basically I split the farm into 4 different quadrants, and I move them throughout. And then what I end up doing is once I take typically I get 3 cuttings of hay off the hay lots, including that, we refer to it as Edwards lot for the sake of it, I've been calling it Brazo's lot, the town lot there. We typically get 3 cuttings on it, take 3 cuttings off of it. And then what I'll do is our acreage is fenced in. I'll finish the cattle there so what they can, they can harvest a lot cheaper than I can. So while they're out on the hay lot, they're also fertilizing, there's hoof impact, there's aeration that goes on with it. It's a good way to get some year-round use at your hay lot. So I know it sounds like a small number, 2.83 acres compared to the 33, but that 33 number is a bit skewed because I would say about 20 acres of that is in the hay production, but we also do rotate it. So if you have a drought year like this year, we haven't had any rain since July, we're already starting to feed our cows.
Okay.
So.
That was it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I appreciate you coming down here tonight as well. in expressing your feelings about this, so. All right, we ready to move on? Oh, please, absolutely. Absolutely, come on up.
Sorry, I just got off work.
That's okay.
Hi, I'm Debbie Law, 18 Bell Court. I actually have 3 concerns. Mine is probably the least important, so I'll say that quickly. I live at 18 Bell Court. It costs me $3,800 to cut back the trees on one of my neighbor's side, and it costs me $22 to cut it back on the other. The $3,800 one damaged my roof. I reached out to so many people. Nobody assisted me. Nobody. I have been waitressing since I was 16 to put myself through community college and eventually my master's. I deserve to have a nice backyard. It finally looks nice, but I reached out to Senator Needleman. He was going to assist me. The laws need to change. If your neighbor's trees are in your yard for more than $500, your neighbor should be responsible if you want them cut back. Okay? That should be the law. Senator Needleman said to me, well, the law's been like that forever. For all we know, that law was created so that somebody who was a sharecropper had to, give more of their property to somebody else. It seems like decency and common sense to me. On the one side, I gave them a baby gift. The other, I used to give his grandchildren fruit when they walked by. But somehow it was okay for their trees to be on my yard that much. The one man, he has a small piece of property and he put a huge addition on his house, so it made his house look really good to have those trees. That should not be tolerated in a decent society. I reached out to so many people to assist me. It should not be tolerated. The law needs to change. Thank you for that. My next concerns are more important. The curbing in front of the police station where the police sign is has been damaged for over 7 years. I reached out to Susan Bransfield. Well, I think it's the states, maybe it's the towns, never happened. Ryan Curley was going to have it fixed, never happened. It's disrespectful to the police. When there's something going on at your schools, it's the police that are running in. It's a very little thing to fix that curb. Honestly, if you want me to hire somebody myself, it would probably cost $400. I think it's worth it. It should be fixed. And my next concern is I went to several school board meetings for probably the last 7 years. I think everybody would agree we have a problem in our society. 2 things that I think would really contribute to changing is if our school times changed. The research is very clear. High schoolers, they need more sleep. The little ones need less sleep. I know it impacts parents and they have to rearrange schedules, but I think the mental health of our students is more important at this time. I have a little voice. Nobody listens to me, but you all are in a position of authority. Something needs to be changed. It really needs to occur. I know we have new school buildings that we're working on and all our resources are funneled into that, but these are things that are going to help children's mental health. And just a quote to go with that, the difference between despair and hope is a good night's sleep. When children don't get that, and I don't know who said that, like Mark Twain or something, I don't know, but children need their sleep. It's crucial. It's crucial to everyone. And then a second part of that is, I don't understand why in the United States, we don't teach foreign language K3, if that's all we can afford. We do it on the flip side, and it's ridiculous. Other nations are laughing at us. We're not bilingual. Even in this country, it becomes difficult to get jobs if you're not bilingual. My friend, she's a retired school teacher, and I'm going to be quick. She's a retired school teacher in Middletown. She took 1 semester of French in 1st grade, and she took Spanish all through middle school, all through high school, and I think a year or 2 in college. She's now 76. She remembers more French than she does of Spanish. We're just throwing good money away. And children that are bilingual, they have better coping skills, they have better problem-solving skills. We need to do something. We really do. And I know it's not easy, and I know it's really hard to maneuver, and but I've voiced this concern at the Board of Education, and it was never really heard, or they have the school issues to deal with, the building issues, and I get it. But it's coming to a time where we need to do drastic changes. So thank you very much. I'm sorry I know my demeanor gets very agitated, but especially with the kids, and even the police who are taking care of our kids when things happen in the schools. We've got to act on our kids' behalf. We really do. It's like the time to act is now. So thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you make some good points, and I'm gonna make two quick comments on what you had said. In terms of curbing, tonight we'll be actually approving a sidewalk work that will extend down Main Street. We may get to that curbing before the end of the year, so I'm excited about that. In terms of school time, studies do show that starting a little bit later with certain kids is better and early with others. That is a fact. Schools try to adopt to that. We don't make that decision, Board of Ed does, but there are studies on that, so you're 100% correct about that. It can make a difference. Oh, that's okay. And then foreign languages, yes, we learn foreign languages when we're younger, much easier. So starting younger, the brain's more learnable, more teachable, I guess. Our brains get less plastic and less willing to learn things as we get older. So good points. No problem. No problem. We like to hear from you. All right. On to monthly reports. So we have our Committee on Solidarity online.
We do, I believe. Hope.
Yes, Hope Jones.
Our monthly report, Hope Jones.
Yes, we have a new member, Emily Bickhart, and then we have our two high school volunteers, Dre Farmer, and you probably met her at the Juneteenth. She did the introduction for the speakers. And the other person is Eunice Ngunjiri. I hope I pronounced that right. Probably not. Now upcoming is Jackie Davis, who is a committee member, works in the mental health field. And she told us about the mental health first aid training by Gilead Community Services, which is going to be at the Portland Library on the 25th and 26th of this month. And it teaches people without clinical background how to recognize and assist someone experiencing a health challenge. So that is a 2-day event, 4 hours each at the library. Our committee is planning on having a table at the Portland Fair. And we've had a table at the concert series this summer with information and sign-up sheets. Our Juneteenth group met, our work group, and this past week, and we're planning on a similar event that we had this year for next year, and hopefully it'll be at the middle school. We haven't really fixed the date or the place or anything yet, but it's in the works. And also, if anyone is interested in helping on our committee, we're certainly open to that. Or if you know someone who might like to help with that, we can use all the help we can get. We have our monthly solidarity column each third week of the month in the River East. And the committee members each sign up for a month. They write the column, it's shared, and then commented and approved by the committee before it's sent to the paper. But that has been, I think that's been pretty successful. Let's see, the other thing we had just recently was the Voices of Portland, the Historical Society, our committee, and the public library presented a book launch at the library on September 6th. And the Voices of Portland project was a series of oral history recordings focused on the stories of Black Americans living and working in Portland. And it was supported by funding from Connecticut Humanities. And these transcripts and some other materials were put into a book, and it's available at the library. You can check that out. And it's also archived at the Historical Society, Middlesex Historical Society, and the State Library. And a few of our members have joined in on a Zoom gathering of the Social Justice Leadership Network of Connecticut. And their vision is to be able to share our knowledge of things that we're doing and maybe, get together, get to know each other, get together and build relationships and maybe collaborate on programs and initiatives. And this is at the state level. There's people there from all towns practically in the state. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was in Juneteenth this year, we had some large boards made. The local businesses in town kindly, helped us with the Juneteenth expenses by purchasing an ad. And they're two boards of businesses, and they're probably about 25 by 36. And they've been at the Youth and Family Services building on display. And we're hoping that we might be able to display them somewhere else in town, maybe at the town hall or somewhere like that. So if that's pretty much it for this month's report.
Right.
Do you have any
We could put
questions?
it, yeah, we could put it at the town hall.
Yeah. Who should we contact about that?
You can contact me.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any questions for her? Hope, keep on doing your good job out there. We appreciate all the work that you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. We really do.
We appreciate your support.
Whatever we can do. All right, Blue Earth Compost Program, I'm still talking to one of the farms in town. They want to do, we just have to work out the details. So I promised the board here by the October 8th meeting, I'll have them there and get this settled. I want to end the program with Blue Earth and start with a local farm. We may even talk to these folks and see if they can help out as well. So
I'd be good with that. I'm not opposed to the program. It's what we're paying to run the program.
absolutely. Right. And I'd rather keep it in town if it could be useful
Yes.
for another farm. So excellent. And then do we have any appointments or reappointments to the boards or commissions tonight?
I have a couple.
Okay.
I have Mitch Gilbert, for a full-time position on inland wetlands.
I'll second that.
All right, discussion? No discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
I have Karen Renner as an alternate on the 250 committee.
I'll second that.
All right, discussion? All right, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
And last, I have Michelle Donahue for a full-time position on the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee.
Second that.
Okay, and discussion?
I think she'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got it.
So,
All right, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Great. All right, welcome Mitch, Karen, and Michelle. All right, so let's get to the first resolution. We have, Butler is going to be doing the river access project. After a lot of bidding, the price that came in with was fantastic. We had to work out some details in terms of what the town would do to help save some money and make this possible within the grant funding. We were able to do that, and I'm proud to say and glad to say that we should be started no later than November 1, possibly as early as mid-October. I would say early November to play it safe, but
Water gets cold down there for kayaking. You gotta hurry up.
it does. We got to move it quick, Jack.
you're supposed to stay out of the water.
He's a smart man right there. All right, who would like to read this?
I can read it.
All right, Tim's gonna read. All
I
right.
move a resolution, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, September 17th, 2025. Contract agreement with Martin. How do you say?
No, wrong one.
Oh, wrong one.
You be
Where this
Butler.
one comes from.
I stuck one in on you. Sorry
Oh, you
about that.
stuck
Don't
one
don't
in.
worry, Tim, I did that last week.
Yeah, no, I know, right? It's all good until it's not. All right, same heading, resolution, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, September 17th, 2025. Contract agreement between Herbert E. Butler Construction Company, LLC. Resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby authorizes First Selectman Michael Pelton to execute and deliver in the name of, on behalf of the Town of Portland, a contract with Herbert E. Butler Construction Company, LLC, 984 Portland Cobalt Road, Portland, Connecticut, 06480 for the purpose of bid 2026-01 kayak launch site, Airline Avenue. Total contract amount is the base bid of $285,875 minus $13,800 lump sum deduction to leave excess materials on site for a total of $245,075, including unit prices for additional work, if any, and only ordered by the engineer.
I'll second that.
Would you
Mike,
like
I-
the short one?
I have one question on that.
Yes.
Do we know how much material they plan on leaving behind?
Oh, we don't yet. They are gonna leave it behind to save some money instead of pulling it out of there. So we
I
don't
mean, are
know
we
yet.
talking 100 yards, thousands of
We
yards?
don't know. We don't know. It'll be significant enough that we're saving 13 grand by leaving it there.
Okay.
So whatever $13,000 would normally cost to get out of there. So, all right, any more discussion about this? Before I get to the vote, October 11th, 10 a.m., there will be a groundbreaking ceremony for this project on Airline Avenue, where they're going to start the project. I'd like to invite the selectmen there, and anyone else who's watching, please come there. This will be the first access to the riverfront that we've had in town that's available to the public. I've said 100 years. Someone told me a long time ago they jumped in the river anyways. Right, but
Well, I was gonna hang my kayaks up for the winter, but I might just leave them out. See where
remember,
we go.
remember we didn't have winters a long time ago? Now we skipped that whole part. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. Congratulations to all the people who put this together. It's great.
Right.
All right, we're gonna go right to the refunds of excess payments.
I'll make a motion for a refund of excess payment for Snyder Civil Engineering LLC, $67.23.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, motion carries.
Motion for a refund of excess payment for Peter and Suzanne McDougal, $10.84 and $9.74.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Excellent. All right, the added 8C is a contract agreement between us and Martin Lovato Contractors. They are doing the sidewalk improvements that I mentioned, Deb, that will be from Main Street, Walgreens, down to the police station, as well as other sidewalks in town. I'm excited about this project. We have some add alts on here as well that we may be able to do some extra work because of the price they gave to us, so we're very excited.
Now, Mike, does this include, this is finishing Main Street? It's doing Highland and Homestead?
Yes,
And starting at Walgreens?
Yes.
Hopefully getting.
as far down as we can, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'll move the resolution if you don't mind.
Good.
All right. Resolution Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, dated September 17, 2025. Contract agreement with Martin Lovato Contractors, Inc. Resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby authorizes First Selectman Michael A. Pelton to execute and deliver in the name and on behalf of the Town of Portland a contract with Martin Lovato Contractors Incorporated, 611 North Main Street, Bristol, Connecticut, 06010 for bid number 2026-02, Portland Sidewalk Improvement Connectivity Grant number 4. The total base bid contract, $243,147, plus alternate number 1 of $139,000 prior to any change orders, is approximately $382,147. Additional change orders are expected to complete additional work approved by the state of Connecticut DOT, town, and engineer. The $243,147 is to be funded by connectivity grant funding. The add alternate is to be funded by LOCIP in the amount of $50,327, and the remainder to be funded by capital non-recurring funds in the amount of $88,673.
I'll second that.
Second, any discussion?
I have a couple questions. One, I don't know if you'll know the answer. What is our balance going to be after in the capital non-recurring funds?
I don't know.
And if we're already pulling money out of other accounts, and this says we're going to have additional change orders,
But
how are we paying for the additional change orders?
with the grant money, it's all within it. we have to write it up for this, the total grant that we received was $612,000. The bid that we got was exceptionally good, so it allows us significant funding to be able to continue some other things that would all be additional grant funding. It also is more complicated because we also have LoCIP money, but we have two types of LoCIP money that we have to use. So we have to incorporate, from the financial point of view, where the funds come from is a little more complicated here because we got such a good bid on it. But it's,
So what is our balance gonna be left from the grant?
after this, it should expend all the grant money.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't leave any grant money on the table. It'll all be used. And part of it will be, I shouldn't say part of it, the existing grant money we'll use to completion as we're going down Main Street from Walgreens. So we run it until we run out of money.
But the change orders will not exceed the grant
It will
amount we're
not
talking
exceed the
about.
grant money, correct,
Right.
correct. So we've left that as the last part of the project, so we know exactly which funding we have. But like Homeland and High, Linden Homestead, Highland and Homestead, we've already baked that into this, so.
Can you let us know for the next meeting then what that balance will be after this?
Sure,
All right.
sure. Just send me, as you do, send me a reminder. Very good. All right, any other questions? This one, good ones. All right, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Excellent. This will, I should say, I'll let you know by the next Board of Selectmen meeting. This one, they're geared up. We have all the designs done. We're gonna be able to start pretty quickly, maybe as early as, I believe, middle of October. But I will let everyone know.
Do they plan on finishing it all this year or no?
I don't know,
Okay.
because it depends. Because we have some different projects going on for the same grant. It depends, but we'll be able to work that through. It'll all be weather dependent as well.
Since it's 3 places, are they doing one at a time or are they gonna have multiple construction sites?
To be decided. They're still working the
Okay.
details of that out. So, all right, good questions. Status and committee reports. John, you want to start?
Yeah, I've got a Board of Ed I attended last evening. A few items. Karen Renner was brought onto the board last evening. She replaces Angela Hammond, who left, unfortunately. We miss her. And Karen stepped in and she's ready to run with it. So we welcome Karen. There was, I think the information's been made available to the public, but Gildersleeve School is just won a blue ribbon.
Yes.
And that will be the 3rd blue ribbon school that the town of Portland has. And according to the superintendent last night, I don't believe any town in the state of Connecticut has 3 blue ribbon schools. The unfortunate part is that the current administration in Washington has kind of either backburnered or done away with the National Blue Ribbon School Program. So I don't know whether we'll get those banners and that recognition, but apparently it'll still be recognized as a state of Connecticut Blue Ribbon School. So there'll be some kudos going out to the teachers and the folks at Gildersleeve School. There were a couple updates last night, from the student representative, that Portland High School band played today at the Big E, Connecticut Day.
Nice.
And this Saturday, they're playing at Yukon Band Day at Rensselaer Field. So our band is blessing its muscles in a couple places. In the superintendent's report last evening, there was information provided that with some of the new legislation that is being enacted, it appears that there will be additional potential for additional state reimbursement on school projects, which according to last night, could raise our reimbursement percentage to possibly 75% or even more. So I think with the projects going on, that's huge. They recognize that we got to strike while the iron's hot, so they're moving full tilt trying to get that all squared away. They also noted that they ended last year with a $205,000 surplus, which was great news. There are 2 state grants that were talked about by the Director of Student Services that the town has landed. One of them is for kindergarten through 2, a mental health grant, and the other one is a special ed expansion and development grant. So those are both good. And then the bulk of the evening after that, there were presentations by the Taco. You know what that is, Tim. It's the school improvement plans, they call it TACO. It's talent, academics, culture and climate, and operations. And the plans were presented last night by Valley View School, Gildersleeve School, Brownstown Intermediate, and Student Services. It was all around a very good meeting, and some really positive information came out of it.
That's great. That's great. Didn't you have anything?
I can speak to the Economic Development Commission meeting. I attended on September 9th. There was a lot of good discussion. Couple of things they talked about was the Oakwood expansion. After, I guess there was a pause there briefly, it's moving forward towards completion. There was talk about the Marlborough Street development, kind of across, I guess, kind of across from Companions, the lot.
Yes.
They're gonna have 2 buildings there, 4 units, like 1,200 square feet commercial, and some, and I think it had a residential component as well to that. They updated on some of the things we've already talked about, the Brainerd Place, Jersey Mike's coming, the Chipotle. They talked about, there was an issue some neighbors on Perry Avenue had with some styrofoam blowing through that they think that they've resolved and brought that to a conclusion. And let's see what else. Hey, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. What do you got, Bobby?
Nothing going on with capital, and planning and zoning just has its typical applications before it, nothing big or serious.
Jumping up, yeah. Good.
Mike, I don't want to steal your thunder. I don't know if you, I'm sure it's on your list, but
Thunder stealing is allowed.
thunder stealing's allowed.
100%.
Last Friday afternoon, Tim and I, along with you, as the representatives from this board, along with you, did a brownfield site walk.
Sure.
And if you could speak a little bit about that, I thought that was an amazing opportunity, a lot of good conversation.
Yeah.
And a lot of key people there in that site walk.
It really was great. It's funny you should say that, because I was at a symposium, a consortium with the school system that has to do with STEM and learning in the school system and technology. And the gentleman from the chamber was there at that.
Chris,
So
yeah.
we got to kind of debrief on that walkabout, and he was really excited about what he saw as well. It was a great.
And it was exercise too.
It was great. Right?
Yeah.
It was, if you saw a large group walking around Main Street in Portland, you wonder what the heck was going on. We were looking at the brownfields and, potential future development of what we could do in downtown. And we started here, went up Main Street, looked at this, looked at everything along that road, then went down Middlesex Avenue, looking at the operation, what's happening for the spa property. And we toured the park to look at all the potential that's there in the park. Then the brownfield properties along the river, that a couple of which the town has already cleaned up,
Right.
and then a few more. In fact, a representative on that site walk was
Yeah.
one of the property owners from down there, as were Mr. Hayes from the quarry. And then we went up Silver Street and came up Main Street. We had Mr. Bertram from Brainerd Place.
Yeah.
We had a good group of individuals with a lot of good ideas. It was a very interesting walk.
Yeah. I think for me, the most interesting part about it, yes, we got the chance to see everything there, but there was a number of conversations going on. Sean was talking with, Dan for Brainerd Place, a lot of interaction. And what I thought was best about it, and I think it showed that Portland, we're getting on the map of some of the other developers. The gentleman that owns the old asphalt plant, I think the Tri-Ram, came down from New Hampshire and from Massachusetts, the president and the previous owner's son, to take a look at that. They want to do something with the property. They were listening to the uses that we looked at it. And what he said at the end was, yes, they're interested in, maybe regaining some of the funds they spent acquiring that to shut it down from a competition, but they're also interested in what happens to the property. They wanted to fit into what we're trying to do down there. So it wasn't just money. It was money and how can their property kind of add to the town. But I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah.
So
I have one
Hey,
question with.
hey, Mike,
Go ahead, Jim.
oh, no, go ahead, Bob. I just want to give a water and sewer update before we move on.
Yeah.
but-
Okay. With the property down on Brownstone Avenue, I know we've always been looking for development of it.
Right.
has the town looked at just listing it for sale to see if somebody wants to buy it and develop it on their own
Right.
without us being the owner of the property?
So I haven't gone forward with that. I know Ryan did before. I haven't considered, to be honest with you, just because I don't think we've fairly tried to put out a real RFP on this. I know the last one we did, I think in early, last year, early 2024, was somewhat half-hearted in that, I think we had someone in mind. There was people that wanted that. So
Mhm.
I don't think we did that, but I know in the last 6 months or so, we've had, for example, Carabetta was interested in the property. They called us through the Chamber of Commerce to talk about that property. Now, they build apartments, they don't build hotels, but it was on their radar and they asked. So I think we have to try that first, but I think as an option, we should know what the value of the property is and see if
Yeah.
developers want it, because
Because when we originally bought it, I know a lot of residents in town were under the impression of we're buying it to clean it and sell it and put it back on the tax
Right.
rolls and get our money back from the purchase
right,
and go from there. Where every option we've talked about in the last few years has been all about pretty much us being the landlord and
Yeah.
developing and somebody building on it.
Yeah.
Where maybe we'd get more interest.
Right.
Marketing it as riverfront land that's available for sale.
I think that's a good point. And I know with the vote was what, 5 years ago, right? 2019, 2020, whatever. It wasn't that
I don't
long
remember
ago.
what year it was.
It was a lot of discussion. I think what makes it,
2019, I believe, Mike.
yeah. I think what makes it more complicated is we only are just now paying the last payment to our consultants to do the last of the cleanup and the last of the form. So it took that long to kind of get everything done. Although it does look like what just happened in the last year, it's been the end of the project
Yep.
paperwork. So I think now we're finally in a position where we can do something and put it out there like crazy, but a developer may come in and say, we'd like all the land, we want to buy the property. I think we should be open to that. What complicates it now that we're looking at the downtown area with FHI, as one of our consultants with the bar grants and, our development folks looking down there, we now have to look at the other property and see if maybe that second property, the tri-ram,
Mhm.
combined with that may be more attractive to a developer, right? So I think
But
now we're looking
I
at-
think that second property is gonna run into the same thing that this property did.
Oh, they all will.
It's gonna be so
Oh,
contaminated.
yeah.
Actually, what's interesting about that is they've already gone through with deep, they've
Mhm.
cleaned it up as much as they can, and there's a pass-through rule. I forget what the specific rule number is, but come April or May, a rule changes that allows it to kind of pass on without them holding liability, but I've talked to Deep about it, they've already done all the permits, all the cleanup that they can. They've got it mitigated down to one building where they have kind of, but it's gotten to the point where with that building containing a lot of the higher dirty stuff, the rest of the property is similar to the property we have right now. So it's a lot. I thought it was a mess.
Yep.
But they were there and that was one of the things that they said. I'm not sure if you spoke to them.
I heard the
cleaned up-
conversation. The only thing that I'm curious about is, and my understanding with the grants to clean up those brownfields, they have to be pulled by the municipalities.
Well, it does,
Yes.
but
So there's gonna be some involvement from us. And there was some discussion about another spill that happened on that property.
Right.
Fairly substantial spill.
Right.
In recent memory.
right.
So I think you're right. That first parcel, and there was quite a bit of conversation, the ones that we've just cleaned up. In fact, there was questions about whether it's commercial or could be residential. There was any
Yeah.
number of conversations.
My point is whether it's that property, something else down the road on another street
Right,
or
yeah.
in the industrial park itself. If there's something that needs to be cleaned up and the town purchases it to get the grant money to clean it,
Right.
we would need the money from the sale of a property
Right.
to
Okay.
afford to do
Right,
that.
Right.
So as long as we're still holding on to Brownstone Avenue,
Right.
we're kind of handcuffed on how much we can invest
Of course.
and develop and clean up
The
other
only
properties.
thing I would make sure we were clear on is when you're developing a property, because there's a lot of conversation during that site walk about the cautiousness you have to have on developing it. Basically, you can't break the ground. Everything has to be a surface built.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't know what involvement we would have in terms of monitoring a future buyer to ensure that they don't break through and expose whatever may still be down there. So there's a lot of questions, but I agree with you. I mean, that in order to purchase additional property, the money's got to come from somewhere.
And we only put aside $50,000 a year in the budget.
Right.
To purchase
That-
land.
Yeah, for open land, yeah.
Yes.
But I think what was interesting in that sidewalk is you really, right now you have two corners of this 3 or 4 block stretch.
Mhm.
Starting at Brainerd Place and coming all the way up to Middlesex Avenue with the spa.
Mhm.
As that's developed and the riverfront's developed, I think that's gonna take this, it's gonna redevelop and rejuvenate this entire area, Main Street.
You can already see it with Brainerd with the house across the street from Campani's.
Yeah.
They took the house down and moved it to another town to be reconstructed to put in commercial buildings.
Right.
No,
It's all good.
it's
And
exciting.
it's little things.
Yeah.
The laundromat did a facelift on their building
Exactly.
to look nicer and more inviting.
It's that whole rising tide of,
It-
economic
It's
development.
gonna
It
be
helps everything.
contagious.
Yeah, and Dan, we met with him after the walk, Dan Bray and I, and he's very excited about the things going on. Development is all happening. A lot of the restaurants are starting to see more of the residents coming in there. They're filling up, so it's all happening and happening quick. I will say, you guys are still here. One of the discussions as we got down to the end of the road right past the spa was where people walk on the trail, and part of where they walk is past the property that you guys have. People are going to the end of the park, they turn around, they come back. So, that land becomes visible to people and kind of part of what people see and what they experience. So, that is part of the downtown. So,
And
it's good.
the last thing I'll say about it, and then we can move on for Jim.
Yes.
But there was a lot of the conversation was amongst, I think all of us, when we were more in a tighter group, was what are we trying to sell? What is Portland now? And I think it was what everybody kind of was leaning towards is we really have become an outdoor place to be.
Mhm.
The quarries, the boating in the riverfront,
Golf.
the
Golf
airline
courses,
trail,
golf courses,
the
yeah,
3
that's right.
golf courses. There, and when the spa moves in here,
The rinks.
there's so many overlapping things that we offer. And then there was a discussion that Middletown is moving forward in the same manner with trying to, move towards the riverfront.
Yeah.
But I think I said to these guys, the one thing that we have that Middletown doesn't is the quarry.
Mhm.
This big historic hole that's nationally recognized now, and people are coming, they said they're coming from New York, New Jersey, they're coming from all over the place to go to this quarry. So
Yeah.
I think there's huge opportunities right now as we move forward.
I agree. So I think everything should be on the table. We look at every possible option, but it's good to have options.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that 5 years ago, we just have so much more going on, so. All right. Jim,
Yes, sir.
back to you. You've been quietly listening, so now you get to talk some.
No, just wanted to, that a week ago Monday, Mike and I went down to MDC. We had our attorney with us, Dave Kosminski, ended up joining us from the Water and Sewer Commission. And we presented the, sort of our recommendation, basically our position to the MDC, in terms of the negotiation, the MDC. We did it in public comment. This was not the official binding presentation, but, we outlined our position. We heard and got to hear some of the feedback from MDC about what their position is going to be. And how I think they're going to, try to push back and to craft a different type of arrangement. And I believe the next step on that is going before the water board. And, I believe Mike, the 28th?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah, and that's where it's gonna become, I think much more of, if I understand the process, much more of a back and forth. And a little bit more intense of a process than this last was. Fortunately or unfortunately, it was a good evening and we got that presented. But it started at 5:30 and I got back just towards the end of the water and sewer. I did miss, the Parks and Rec, so I was not able to attend that. And, so I don't have a report on that. And, I just got to the back end of the water and sewer and then I gave them a quick update from the discussion and that was about it. That's all I got, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was an interesting meeting. I got a letter from MDC earlier today. I'll share that with the board, their proposal. So it's similar to what they asked us before, so.
Can I ask Jim one question? Because he was at the water meeting.
Absolutely.
Jim, in the minutes, there was a discussion about the High Street water main project. there was discussion with the engineer, not with the engineer, about asking about the depth of the pipe. And that, is it right that it says the town engineer claims they were unaware of any issues with how deep the pipe is set?
Yeah, Bob, I came in on the very tail end of that, and that was part of what they, that seemed part of the dissatisfaction and some of the concerns is that it had to do with that the actual, the final depth of the pipe as it was put in the ground. And basically those requirements. But I was not there for the full discussion, so I can't speak fully on it.
Okay. I was just wondering about that because we received an email from the engineer with the depth of the pipe at each residence.
Right.
So how do they not know that there's a problem or a concern with
Right.
how deep the pipe is when they gave us the depth of the pipe at each residence?
I understand.
Bob, do we know what those reported depths were from the like the as-built, the final report?
Several, I didn't see the as-built, but several in the report were under 42 inches, with 42 inches being the frost line. There was, I believe it was 5 or 6 in the 30-inch range.
Yeah, okay, that doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah, that's shallow.
That was,
Did
I just
they-
wanted to know because
What,
I know you
based on the
attended the
feed-
meeting.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I'm sorry, because of what the time we got back from Hartford, it just wasn't there for that full discussion, but I can certainly, ask those questions.
Okay.
All set?
Yep.
All right. All right, let's get to public comment. We have one more opportunity if anyone wants to say anything. Come on up. You guys been hanging in there for a long time.
All right, I'm Kelly Mullen again, 54 Strong's Ave. My first time I was just flustered by, 4 handsome guys over here, but I just wanted to add that, back to the the town lot there, there really is a public benefit too, just from the farm and just for the town. There are so many people, like Mike was just saying, that walk the riverfront trail there, and most nights, Joe and I see people playing catch in the fields, letting their dogs run around, just seeing your pictures taken there, anything you can think of. There's been a lot of activities that I think probably, unless you're down there, you don't really know that's going on, but it is really strongly utilized as open space. And I think another benefit that the public does get that's almost unique or whatnot, but when Joe and I are doing hay out there, a lot of people will stop and, kind of take pictures on what we're doing, and it's something different. They'll ask how the balers work. There's the round balers, the square balers, some tractors that might be in the Portland Fair coming up. But I think it piques the interest of a lot of community members for something different that, that part of town is unique to the farm and using that lot. So, there is a benefit to the public as well. And I meant to say that, and I forgot to say that my first time up here. So thank you guys.
Thank you very much. Glad you guys came out tonight. All right, anybody else? All right, very good. Moving on
Nobody,
to.
Nobody.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, informal discussion. I just have a couple things. Most can wait to the next meeting. By the way, this will be our last meeting in this location. And we came here beginning of the pandemic as a location because it was easier to film from here. We will be at the library as of October 8th. So it'll be easier access. It'll be a bigger room. Nick, who is not in camera, but he's over there always watching, making sure things work smoothly. Always watching. Him and Pete will be getting it set up there. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be exciting. It's nice to be off of the main street also for safety reasons and other reasons why we did this, but it will be our last meeting here. I will miss this room, but I will not miss the noise of the air conditioner, nor will Sharon miss the AC and not hearing people speak. So anyway, so that's that. A couple things really quickly. Talked about that. So it's been interesting. It's a couple random things. So Everyone remembers the Jobs Pond flooding last year. I want to call out Ryan Curley again for what he did to accomplish that. That's flooded, I think, every generation, it seems. It was 37 years ago, it flooded before. It's connected to the aquifer below us where the Connecticut River used to run. So that pond tends to rise and fall independent of rain sometimes. So it's a mystery. They couldn't figure it out back then. I just got back the white paper from the EPA and from the state of Connecticut that kind of handled that. But in reading through this, and I'll have it put on the website so others can read it as well, but it's fascinating, not only for all the detail that they put into figuring out what to do and recommendations going forward, but the fact that Ryan was able to get the funding as quick as he did, and the significance of it. I believe it was about $700,000,
Yeah.
$712,000. And he dealt with the federal government. And I know in this room, we had residents back there at the peak of the flood going, want something now. And it still took a couple months to get it, but that was probably a couple months faster than I thought possible.
The photographs in that report of the houses.
Oh,
The folks were saying at the time the water was so high, but I mean, it's incredible how high that pond was.
yeah, I have pictures in it. This is the only report they go, I'll email it out to everybody, but
What is their recommendation for that in the future? Because when it flooded, was it in the eighties?
yes.
Yeah.
85.
So
They said the same thing then was,
84.
we'll have a recommendation for what to do about this in the future.
I remember
And they did
Brian
nothing.
saying that
They- no, actually,
there was discussion about what to do again.
well, here's what the last time it happened. They said, you can tell residents to be careful, do what they can individually, build a moat, raise the house up or whatever. It doesn't involve any money at all, right? These are solutions that residents could do themselves. That was plan A, the cheapest. Second plan is the town maybe helps mitigate. Maybe we, help move the house back, or perhaps, assist them with some funding that the town provides. The biggest plan was you build kind of a moat around there, you build some infrastructure around there, but it was, a plan that cost $6, $7, $8 million. It would have to be funded by EPA or whoever organization that would do it. And the chance of getting it done was virtually zero. So they said that private property area, because it was private property, was eliminated from funding that would normally go to an area that wasn't. So basically, there's not much they can do. They can give recommendations. They being the residents, can reach out and ask for grants individually, maybe as a community. But because it's privately held and private owners there, it's limited. So that's what that report says this year. I've already shared this with the folks down there. A couple of the residents down there already shared it with all the residents. They want to have a meeting to discuss it as well. I'll go there and see what we can do, what the state can do. But basically it's zero cost, minimum cost, something from the town, and the golden plan, which they probably don't qualify for based on the type of ownership it is. But the detail in there's, and they nailed it. They know exactly what the problem is. It's the aquifer that rises underneath there. And there's certain mysteries about it that they can't determine without spending a lot more money.
Yeah.
But anyways, but kudos for him getting the money, because knowing how town and state work in the 9 months I've been doing this, he went through a lot of hoops to get that. I know Norm helped out a lot as well, but
Oh, yeah.
but it was much appreciated. But again, that's an example when a problem comes up. If you get everyone together on the same page and get it done and have someone cheerleading it, you can get amazing things done. So again, I'll share this with everyone digitally. But again, I was just very fascinated by that. That was very interesting to me. Something else as an aside, we talked about schools. We're going to be as a board, we'll be charged with not only formulating our individual positions, but also what's the recommendation that this board has going forward. Town of Weathersfield recently had a vote on a $239 million project net to the town of like $88 million. What difference does it make what Weathersfield says or does? I just found it interesting that they're grappling with the same issue that Portland's grappling with now, what to do with schools, aging infrastructure. Other towns have this. Their number seemed a lot bigger. They just passed it yesterday, like 3,400 to 2,700. But the information they put out on it was interesting. They had to communicate their message to the people. There were people in government cheerleading what they thought was the best interest of the town. So I love the material. I'll share this with you. They're gathering up some more, but I just found it interesting how they did it, the path that they did that by, but residents accepted that they need to do something with that. I'm not connecting that to Portland, other than we have to look at our own town. We have to come up with our Portland solution to this, whatever it's going to be. But you'll hear more people out in town will hear more about what our positions are and what we think is best for the town coming soon. So that was something we thought was interesting as well. Excuse me. Something else interesting as well, this may be my last one tonight. Recently, property that was held for, I think, a 30-year period where they couldn't sell it near the golf course, the Quarry Golf Course. 30, I believe it's 38 acres, is it?
It's not Corey, it's Gulf West.
I'm sorry.
Portland West.
Portland West, excuse me, thank you. I believe it's 38 acres over there, so, so that's now, the ones that bought that are now looking to possibly sell it or do something with it, so I was invited to stop there with the Middlesex Conservancy Group to walk the property, take a look at it. And one of the discussions were, what could the town do? What could maybe other groups do to save that for open space, save that for open land? Now, obviously, I'm not committing the town to anything. I was interested, but it's a beautiful piece of property right up at Gildersleeve Road that reminded me that we are slowly but surely running out of land like this. Farmland from a long time ago is shrunk down. As farmers once told me, I mean, farming, you're cash poor and land rich. And as you need money, you start selling off the land that you have and it gets developed, and happens in every town. But just as a point of view, I like the idea of trying to conserve land if we can. It's a small town. I think that's the kind of the charm of Portland. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I just think it's a great idea if we could somehow figure out a way to conserve it. Not the town, but maybe others out there might contribute to that or find a way. But we need to try to conserve as much of this open space as we can. You know, we need that for future generations. So I'm off my soapbox. That's all I have for tonight.
You missed one. You gave us the flyer.
I was gonna let you do that,
Oh.
or someone else do that. I
Well,
don't
just
wanna
and I think it's important that we do this because this was something that was near and dear to Sean Manning's heart.
Yeah. absolutely.
This is the food drive for non-perishable food for Thanksgiving baskets. The one you folks will normally see this on your front porch with the bag. They'll be picking the bags up on Sunday afternoon, November 2nd. And it says, if you have any questions about the food drive, you can contact Sean's sister Kelly Minetti at 860-685-1985. Or Kevin Backman at Portland Food Bank at 860-301-1826. So my wife and I more always do this, but I think this year especially in memory of Sean, I'd like to have a great collection.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Make it the biggest and best one we've done, so. There's extra, for those in the audience, if you want some, these will be out there, shortly. Please pass them out. Again, we'd love to have this be the best one we've been able to do. We're a good town. We give a lot, so. I provided a copy of a lease. It's not on the agenda, but there was another thing in the package with you. We're not gonna discuss it today, but this, the lease that I'm giving to you, was already approved by our town attorney. They looked at it, incorporated all of the changes. There's not, everything in here is what we'd agreed to. So we can either do the vote next time, but be aware of that, look at that. And you have a copy of what's been green lighted, so.
Hey, Mike, before we move too far past the food bank, for the food drive, just want to say too that, I think last year was a great year. I know Sean, was very excited about the results. We passed 800 bags, collected. I think this year the goal is to hand out 1,500 bags in total. And hoping from a community perspective, we can, we'll see over 1,000 bags returned. I can also say, from the food bank, could definitely use the support. Demand has definitely been, higher, and, so that this food drive is always very welcomed and very helpful, especially as we're heading towards the holiday season.
I agree.
Hey, Jim, I got one question for that, because I know you're involved in the food bank. Would we get maybe a list or notification like a week before of what the biggest needed items are? Just so we're not duplicating, like we'll get something that you guys are running short on.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? I'll talk with Kevin about doing exactly that. We can take a look and see the items that there's been a run on, or a little bit of a, where we've seen a little bit of a lag in getting them. Absolutely. It's a good idea. Thanks,
Okay.
Bob.
For me, I just have one thing. The fair is in 2 weeks.
That's right.
It is October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They are still looking for volunteers. You can go to portlandfair.com, their website, or volunteerportlandfair@gmail.com. Sign up. Easy stuff to do.
Awesome.
Sell tickets, take
Absolutely.
tickets.
Love it.
I've got just one thing, because I'm gonna be going to the library board for their meeting, and they're gonna wanna know the status of chairs.
Oh.
Has anybody gone and looked at the chairs?
I have not. That's important. I have not, but they have,
I think they
Jen
got
has a chair that
additional,
things.
but there was a chair that was there when I was there, and I think she subsequently has gotten.
What did you think of the chair, Tim? The second chair?
No, I just saw the
Oh.
original one.
Because they said they were gonna get another one.
Yeah, I'd be pretty interested in seeing a second
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I feel at this point, but. Or bring these. but I
I'll
know
try to get
that's-
down there.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, I fibbed, didn't lie, I fibbed. There's one other thing I'd like to make an announcement on. Right before I got here, I was proud to attend the Ralph Paley Spirit of Portland Awards, right next door. And, the two winners this year are, I am proud to announce, Susie Hale Colby and Francis Dwyer were the winners of the Ralph Paley Spirit of Portland Award. Well deserved.
Absolutely.
They, again, it's volunteers like that that make the town a better town. So it was great to see that. Well attended, easily the best crowd they've had in a long time, possibly ever, from what they've said, but.
At the ribbon cutting this morning for the new trailhead on the airline trail, it was noted that Fran was the one that donated and did a lot of that work at the trailhead.
He did, they talked about that at the ceremony.
Yeah.
How he, in
Yeah.
4 days, they talked with him and Lou.
Yeah.
Pear had said, they said,
And when
well,
he
you know,
does-
maybe in a few weeks we'll get going, in like 4 days, he was
Yeah.
out
And the
there.
riverfront, I mean,
cranking it
he's
out.
just amazing. So
He's,
it's-
and he loves doing that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's great.
Francis was very involved in helping, that new usage area down the lower new usage area in the southeast corner of the park, southwest corner of the park. He did a lot at really helping to clear that out. He's also, as we've been clearing out a lot of the scrub, as you know, in the core part of the park, trying to get rid of some of the invasives that are killing some of the trees. He's been really fantastic about doing that work. And it's not only his labor, but he's got some heavy equipment that he donates the use of for the betterment of the town. So well deserved.
He also is classic. He doesn't like attention. I don't think he wanted to get out of his seat to accept this award. So, but he was forced to with applause and with condolences. So, anyways, but that was a great thing. So, all right. Before I call the meeting to end, thank you very much for those out in the audience that attended today. I appreciate your feedback. We appreciate your feedback. You know how to reach us as well. We're all accessible. Should you have any ideas or suggestions, and we thank you for coming. I think I need a motion to adjourn.
move me adjourn.
And who will second it?
Bobby's got it.
Bobby's got it.
Bobby got it.
No objections. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We are closed for the night.
Everyone have a good night.